Okay. Here's the mainspring winder that I use pretty much every day. You'll notice that it's in its box, and the box has been falling apart a lot, but I always keep it in its box because that's where it goes. I need to just repair it. Anyway, it's this kind. I have a complete set of these. They have double-ended spindles, or whatever you want to call these things, depending on the size of the innermost curve for the arbor. I tend to really only use this one. And I don't know, I guess I'll show you how we do it. So you have your barrel, got a little bit of S2 in there for braking grease on the walls. There's the top of this barrel, which is pretty heavily worn, but we're still going to use it because this is just a test piece, so I can show this. This is, yes, I agree. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it right. This one will be fine. Don't you worry. So here we go. I know that when I open the barrel of this particular mainspring, which is a 6000 series, this is actually a 6105 barrel, it's going to be what I call anti-tsunami, which means it's curving the opposite direction of that beautiful piece of Japanese art, the Great Wave of Tanagawa, I believe is that, or something like it, whether it's going backwards or forwards, counterclockwise or clockwise. This is counterclockwise. So you're going to want your thingy to go in like so. And you'll notice, oh, I forgot to tell you, you'll notice right at the base there's a little pin. That is the locating pin. It goes into the corresponding hole here, which is for the arbor. I try to line them up, and then I sort of push it through. Then I do my thing. I use an X-Acto knife, but that's because I'm really used to using an X-Acto knife. It's not like, it's a great tool. It's just one that I use because I'm used to it. I sort of drag it around to where it's supposed to be. I'm trying to do this while I'm looking over my phone. I can't actually see if I'm getting this thing right. Let me get this orientated. I had it done. I already had it done. I did it by feel. That's what we call muscle memory. Now, okay, so now you've got this. The way that this thing works is there's a couple bits of it. It's got these little, see, it's got these 4 fingers, if you will, and you can tighten it for a smaller barrel or get it bigger for a bigger barrel. So I tend to go a little bit in there. And so this means that when you have the mainspring coiled up in here and you eject it into the barrel, that's what this is, this pusher. Goes right in here and it goes kapoink. That it's inside the diameter of the barrel, so you're not trying to force in something that's too large. Okay, so now you go in there. This is the hardest part. Okay, you see, this has some play, right? Where I can push it out, and you want to basically hold a little bit of pressure on that with your hands. See what I'm doing? Because otherwise the mainspring will be it won't lay down flat. So then, once you get that done, the trick is to very carefully hold it against the palm of your hand there, and every time you turn, you're securing it with this finger. So turn, stop, turn, stop, turn, stop. And you just have to be careful. You have to maintain these pressures so that you're not pushing too hard, and you're taking up all of the slop, basically. Keep feeding it in, and at this point you have to stop and hold it carefully. And I flick that out for the bridle. Again, this is a real tough part. You're going to take this and reverse that. Whoops. What I get for reverse that in there while holding it firm. And then you very carefully boom. Now, I can tell this thing doesn't really want to turn. I have these jaws are too tight in. So I'm going to loosen that up a little bit, which I just did. Okay, good. Now, we got to get this out. The way I use this, my X-Acto knife, is again, I want to keep the mainspring in here and get the spindle out of here. I don't want to pull the mainspring out. So I go in there, and what I'm doing is I'm holding the mainspring in place. See, I'm keeping it capped, and with the blade all the way in at the central post there. And then you turn it this backwards from the direction that you were turning it, and it frees it up from that coil. And there it is. Now the next thing is I'm just going to be going, and I just drop that in there like that, and I go, see if I can find a way to do this so you all can see it. So there. There you go. So there's that. Now, what I would do is, then it's time to put in the arbor. You know, I just put away all this stuff. I should never put things away. I always need them. Hang on a second. Wrong one, right one. Okay. Oh, criminy. A little bit of 8200 there. Just one second. Put that there. Oh gosh. Come here. There we go. Now this is a little bit of a funky time because you've got to push this down. I usually actually go off the edge and drop it in that way. And then I've already oiled that. So it goes in like so. And that is, in theory, a cleaned and rebuilt mainspring barrel. It's pretty hacked up. I'm not going to put it in the ready-to-use parts, but unless I went and replaced the cap on it, which I'll make a note about that. Anyway, I hope that was a useful piece of information.